You know, I'm going to go straight back to the Beatles here because there was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead, and Paul is dead. And if you played back the records, I'm very serious here. It's crazy.
Who says rock and roll doesn't pay? Today, you will know how much an iconic and legendary rock star on the planet makes. They're not just idols. They are, in fact, financial powerhouses. How? It doesn't stop with their music. They savvy businesses and sold-out concert tours. Ready to meet the titans who turned rock into a billion-dollar empire? These top 10 richest rock stars sure mastered the art of staying relevant while stacking wealth. Number 10. Jimmy Page. As the legendary guitarist of Led Zeppelin, Page isn't just known for his mind-blowing riffs and iconic solos. He's also built a serious fortune over the years, with an estimated net worth hovering around $200 million. It's safe to say he turned his love for music into a pretty sweet lifestyle. Jimmy's journey to becoming one of rock's most influential guitarists started long before Zeppelin. Back in the early 60s, he was already a sought-after session musician, playing on all kinds of records for other artists. That experience helped shape his unique sound and sharpen his skills in the studio. But everything changed in 1968 when he formed Led Zeppelin with Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham. From that point on, rock history was never the same. Led Zeppelin didn't just make hits, they made classics. Songs like Stairway to Heaven, Whole Lotta Love, and Kashmir became anthems for generations. And every one of those tracks had Jimmy's fingerprints all over them. Not only was he the lead guitarist, but he also produced many of the band's albums, shaping their sound with his signature mix of blues, hard rock, and mystical vibes. So where does all that cash come from? A lot of it, obviously, is from Led Zeppelin's record sales, over 300 million albums sold worldwide. But there's more to the story. Page also made money from touring, merchandise, licensing, and re-releasing remastered versions of the band's albums, which fans can't seem to get enough of. On top of that, his early session work and post-Zeppelin projects, like the firm and solo efforts, added to his financial success. And let's not forget his smart investments. Jimmy Page owns an impressive collection of guitars, some of which are worth millions by themselves. He also owns a historic home in London known as the Tower House, which is practically a rock and roll castle. With a net worth around $200 million, he's living proof that rocking out can really pay off. Not bad for a rock star, yeah? The next icon had the same journey of buffing up his wealth from his music. Number 9. Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is basically rock royalty. If you grew up loving grunge or rock music at all, chances are you know his name. He first hit the big time as the drummer for Nirvana, one of the most iconic bands of the early 90s. When Nirvana exploded onto the scene with Nevermind, Grohl's thunderous drumming was a huge part of that sound that defined a generation. Even though Kurt Cobain was the face and voice of Nirvana, Dave's role behind the kit was crucial. His energy and skill helped make those songs unforgettable. After the tragic end of Nirvana, most people thought that might be it for Grohl's music career. But nope. That's when he showed just how versatile and talented he really is. He started Foo Fighters, where he wasn't just the drummer anymore. He took center stage as the lead singer, guitarist, and songwriter. Foo Fighters quickly became one of the biggest rock bands in the world, pumping out hit after hit for decades. Songs like Everlong, The Pretender, and Best of You have become staples of modern rock radio, and Grohl's raw, passionate vocals gave a fresh new identity to his career. Yes, a huge chunk of Dave's wealth comes from his music career. Nirvana's influence on rock is legendary, and the Foo Fighters have sold over 30 million albums worldwide. Add to that their reputation as one of the top touring acts for decades. And it's clear why concert ticket sales and royalties keep the cash flowing. What's more, Grohl owns 100% of the Foo Fighters' album masters, meaning he keeps full control and profits from the band's music. That's a smart move not every artist gets to make, and it's paid off handsomely. But Dave Grohl hasn't stopped at just playing and recording music. He's also stepped into the world of creative production and business ventures. For example, he co-produced and directed the HBO series Sonic Highways, which documented the making of the Foo Fighters' 8th album. It was a cool mix of music history and storytelling, showcasing Grohl's passion beyond just the stage. Plus, along with his mother, he produced the docuseries From Cradle to Stage, focusing on the unique stories of rock stars' mothers. These projects highlight how Dave uses his creative talents in different ways, and they bring in additional income too. Besides being insanely talented, Dave Grohl is known for his genuine, down-to-earth vibe. Despite having a net worth estimated to be around $300 million, he comes across as super relatable. The kind of guy who could be your buddy from the neighborhood. He's worked with tons of other artists, from heavy hitters like Queens of the Stone Age to legends like Paul McCartney, showing off just how respected he is in the music world. Plus, he's not shy about sharing his love for drumming and rock music with fans, often talking about his gear, the craft, and the joy of playing live shows. From drumming in one of the most groundbreaking bands ever to leading a rock empire of his own, he's carved out a legacy that's both huge and heartfelt. His net worth reflects years of hard work, killer songs, and a genuine passion for music that hasn't faded one bit. Number 8. Roger Waters. Roger Waters is not just a rock legend because of his role in Pink Floyd. He's also built up a seriously impressive fortune over the years. With a net worth estimated around $300 million, Waters stands as one of the richest musicians to come out of the classic rock era. But how did he get there? Let's break it down. First off, Pink Floyd was huge. We're talking about one of the best-selling bands of all time, with albums like The Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall selling tens of millions of copies worldwide. As a co-founder and primary songwriter, Waters got a big slice of the pie. Album sales alone would have earned him a significant income, but that's just the start. Tours have been a massive source of wealth for Waters. Pink Floyd's live shows were legendary for their scale and production. Think massive light shows, crazy visuals, and huge crowds. When Waters went solo after leaving the band in the mid-'80s, he kept that grand scale going. His solo tours, especially the ones playing The Wall in full, have been massive moneymakers. These shows draw fans from all over the world and sell out stadiums, pulling in millions in ticket sales. Merchandise and royalties also add to his wealth. Every time a Pink Floyd song gets played on the radio, streamed online, or used in a commercial or movie, Waters pockets royalties. Since the band's music is timeless and still popular across generations, those royalties are a steady income stream. Plus, Waters controls a significant chunk of the band's intellectual property, meaning he benefits from licensing deals and re-releases. But Waters hasn't just been cashing in on old hits. He's also invested in his solo career and other projects, keeping himself relevant and his bank balance healthy. His outspoken political views and activism have sometimes sparked controversy, but they've also kept him in the public eye, which helps keep interest in his music alive. So, what does $300 million look like in real life? Well, Waters lives comfortably with access to luxury homes, fancy cars, and the freedom to fund whatever creative projects he wants. It also gives him the power to donate and support causes important to him. His wealth isn't just about material stuff. It's about having the freedom to make art on his own terms and speak his mind. Waters' wealth is the result of decades of hard work, creative genius, and smart management of his musical legacy. Whether it's album sales, touring, or royalties, he's managed to turn his talent and influence into a fortune that many artists can only dream of. Number 7. Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton, a rock and blues icon, often hailed as one of the greatest guitarists of all time. With a career that spanned decades, countless hit records, and collaborations with some of the biggest names in music history, Clapton has not only made a lasting mark on the music world, but also built an impressive fortune along the way. As of now, his net worth is estimated at around $300 million. So how did he get there? Well, Clapton's journey to wealth and fame started back in the 60s with bands like the Yardbirds and Cream. From there, he launched a wildly successful solo career that brought us classics like Layla, Tears in Heaven, and Wonderful Tonight. His music has consistently topped charts, sold millions of albums worldwide, and raked in major bucks from tours. But Eric Clapton didn't just rely on record sales to build his empire. He's been smart with his money. For one, he's a serious art collector, and some of his pieces have sold for tens of millions. He's also owned several luxury properties, including a stunning estate in Antigua, and has had a long-standing love affair with high-end cars, especially Ferraris. On top of all that, Clapton has made big money from his legendary live performances. His concerts are often packed, with fans willing to shell out hundreds of dollars to see him play. And let's not forget the Crossroads Guitar Festival, his own brainchild, which has not only been a musical celebration, but also a major revenue generator. Despite his fortune, Clapton has also been philanthropic. He founded the Crossroads Center, a substance and alcohol rehab facility in Antigua, and has supported it with millions of dollars from his personal wealth. Eric Clapton isn't just a guitar god. He's living proof that incredible talent, longevity, and smart financial moves can build a legacy worth hundreds of millions. He may be laid back and bluesy on stage, but behind the scenes, Clapton is pure rock star royalty, with a bank account to match. From Clapton, and now we're on the legendary Elton John. These two deserve the recognition and wealth they earned over the years. How much did John make, anyway? Number 6. Elton John. Elton John, a global icon. With a career that spans over 5 decades, it's no surprise his net worth is estimated to be well over $500 million. Yeah, you read that right. $500 million. And honestly, he's earned every penny of it. Even though people often throw Elton into the pop rock category, his music is in a league of its own. From piano ballads to glam rock anthems, the guy has done it all. Songs like Rocket Man, Tiny Dancer, Your Song, and Benny and the Jets have stood the test of time and still get airplay today. His partnership with lyricist Bernie Taupin is one of the most successful in music history. They've written hit after hit together since the early 70s. How did Elton build such a massive fortune? Well, first off, album sales. He's sold more than 300 million records worldwide. That alone puts him in the top tier of best-selling artists ever. Then there are his tours. Elton is known for putting on incredible live shows, and his farewell tour, which started in 2018 and wrapped up in 2023, became one of the highest-grossing tours of all time, bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's not forget his work on soundtracks and musicals. He co-wrote the music for The Lion King, which became a global phenomenon and won him an Oscar. He's also been involved in hit musicals like Billy Elliot, which ran for years and made a ton of money. Between Broadway, Disney, and his own music catalog, Elton's got income coming from all directions. But it's not just about earning. Elton's also known for spending. He's famous for his lavish lifestyle, which includes multiple homes, an insane collection of glasses and stage costumes, and some serious shopping habits. Still, he's also incredibly generous. The Elton John AIDS Foundation has raised hundreds of millions for HIV/AIDS research and support, showing that he puts his money to good use. John is much more than a rock star. He's a showman, a songwriter, a philanthropist, and a seriously rich one at that. With a net worth over $500 million, he's living proof that talent, showbiz flair, and a few sequined jackets can take you very, very far. Number 5. Mick Jagger. As the iconic lead singer of the Rolling Stones, he's been strutting across stages for more than 60 years, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. With a net worth estimated around $500 million, it's clear that all those years of touring, recording, and living the rock star life have seriously paid off. Jagger co-founded the Rolling Stones back in the early 60s, and together with guitarist Keith Richards, created one of the most successful songwriting duos in music history. The band has sold hundreds of millions of records worldwide and still pulls massive crowds on tour. In fact, the Stones are known for putting on some of the highest-grossing tours in music history. Even in their later years, they've continued to sell out stadiums across the globe. But it's not just music that's brought in the cash for Jagger. He's made smart moves off stage too. He's dabbled in film production with his company, Jagged Films, and he's got money in real estate, art, and other investments. Basically, he's turned rock star fame into a rock-solid fortune. Despite the money, Jagger is still very much a performer at heart. He's known for his wild energy on stage, his unmistakable voice, and, of course, those signature dance moves. At over 80 years old, he's still out there giving fans a show, which is pretty amazing. Jagger isn't just a music icon, he's a savvy businessman and a symbol of what it means to truly live the rock and roll lifestyle and earn $500 million doing it. Number 4. Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen isn't your typical rock star, he's the boss. Over the decades, he's built a legendary career with gritty lyrics, powerful live performances, and a deep connection to working-class America. And while he may sing about tough times and blue-collar struggles, Bruce himself is sitting pretty with a net worth estimated around $500 million. Yep, $500 million. Not too shabby for a guy who started out playing Jersey Shore bars. So, how did Springsteen make all that money? First and foremost, music. He's sold over 150 million records worldwide, with iconic albums like Born to Run, The River, and Born in the USA becoming rock staples. His songs blend heart, soul, and storytelling, and fans just keep coming back for more. Plus, he's toured like crazy throughout his career. His concerts are famously long and full of energy, some going for over 3 hours. And people pay big bucks to see him live, especially when he tours with the E Street Band. But it's not just record sales and concerts. In 2021, Springsteen made a huge financial move. He sold the rights to his music catalog to Sony for a reported $500 million. That deal alone explains a big chunk of his net worth. It included all his master recordings and songwriting rights, which is a goldmine considering how often his songs get played, streamed, and used in movies or commercials. Beyond music, Bruce has also made money through books and Broadway. His memoir, Born to Run, was a bestseller, and his one-man show, Springsteen on Broadway, was a hit with both critics and fans. Tickets weren't cheap, and the show ran for months, adding millions to his income. Despite all his wealth, Springsteen still comes off as down to earth. He's stayed true to his roots and often speaks out about social issues and politics. He still lives in New Jersey, not far from where he grew up, and seems to value his privacy more than flashy Hollywood living. So yeah, Bruce Springsteen is worth about $500 million. But it's not just about the money. He's earned every penny with decades of hard work, killer music, and staying true to himself. He's the boss for a reason. Number 3, Bono. Bono isn't just the guy with the sunglasses who sings for U2. He's become a symbol of rock star opulence, global influence, and a kind of celebrity activism that few musicians ever achieve. With an estimated net worth hovering around $700 million, Bono sits in that rarefied space where music, money, and mission intersect. It's not just the royalties from With or Without You padding his wallet. Bono's wealth is a mix of decades-long rock success and some seriously savvy business ventures. He's the kind of guy who can be at the UN one day and headlining a stadium tour the next. Now, let's talk about style. Bono has always understood the power of image. The leather jackets, the ever-present tinted glasses, a nod to his glaucoma, not just vanity, and that effortless blend of rocker cool and statesman polish. It's all part of a persona that's as carefully crafted as it is iconic. You can spot Bono in a crowd even before he opens his mouth. His style is less about chasing trends and more about owning a uniform that screams rock diplomat. The look says, "I'm here to save the world, but I might drop a killer verse first." But Bono's style goes deeper than clothes. It's in how he carries himself. He speaks with a sort of poetic conviction, often blurring the line between a sermon and a song lyric. Whether he's talking about debt relief in Africa or the soul of rock music, he manages to sound both earnest and vaguely mythic. This ability to move between stages, literal and metaphorical, is a big part of what's elevated his status. Bono is a rock star who didn't stop at being famous. He chased influence, and he caught it. And then there's the wealth. Bono's net worth isn't just the result of U2's stadium-filling tours and best-selling albums, though let's be honest, that alone would have set him up for life. The band is known for one of the most lucrative live acts in history, and they've been at it since the 80s. But the real kicker? Bono's business moves. He co-founded Elevation Partners, a private equity firm that made a, now legendary, investment in Facebook before it went public. That alone earned him hundreds of millions, turning him from rock star rich to Silicon Valley rich. What makes Bono's wealth interesting, though, is how it plays into his public persona. He's not a gold-plated yacht kind of guy. You don't see him flaunting bling or flexing with sports cars. Instead, he uses his status and his fortune as tools for soft power. He's been in rooms with presidents, popes, and tech moguls, and he doesn't show up empty-handed. Whether it's lobbying for humanitarian causes or leveraging his fame to push policy, Bono operates at a level of global influence most musicians could only dream of. Still, the wealth has stirred up its fair share of criticism. People have questioned everything from U2's tax arrangements to the optics of a multimillionaire preaching about poverty. And sure, there's a tension there, but Bono's always seemed aware of that contradiction. He leans into the discomfort, using it as part of his message. That change often comes from those who can afford to shake things up from within the system. Whether or not you buy that logic, it's undeniable that Bono has used his platform in a way few artists ever do. Bono is more than just a rich rock star. He's a symbol of how far music can take you. Not just in terms of fame and fortune, but in terms of relevance and reach. His style isn't just fashion, it's a statement. His status isn't just celebrity, it's clout. And his wealth? It's not just money, it's leverage. Love him or roll your eyes at him, Bono has built a legacy that stretches far beyond the stage. Another boss made it to the second rank despite only being mostly known for his musicals. We're down to the last two who are not just millionaires, but beyond. Number 2. Andrew Lloyd Webber. When people think of Andrew Lloyd Webber, the first thing that usually comes to mind is big dramatic musicals like The Phantom of the Opera or Cats. And yeah, those have definitely played a massive role in making him one of the wealthiest figures in entertainment, with an estimated net worth of around $1.2 billion. But what some folks might forget is that Webber also helped pioneer the rock opera genre, with Jesus Christ Superstar being one of his boldest early hits. Released in 1970 with lyrics by Tim Rice, Jesus Christ Superstar was edgy, loud, and nothing like the traditional Broadway fare of the time. It told the story of Jesus' last days, but with electric guitars, drum kits, and a rock and roll attitude. The album came out before the stage production, and it became a hit on its own, climbing the charts and generating huge interest and controversy. Eventually, it hit the stage and has since had countless revivals worldwide. What's cool is that this kind of genre-bending project showed Webber's knack for tapping into popular culture while still doing theater. That blend of commercial appeal and musical risk-taking is part of why his work keeps selling out shows decades later. Even if Jesus Christ Superstar isn't as flashy as Phantom, it played a major role in cementing his career early on, and proved that rock could live on stage just as well as it did on the radio. All of this adds up to a business empire that includes not just royalties from musicals, but also theater ownership, film adaptations, and merchandise. So while Webber is mostly known as the king of musical theater, it's his willingness to push boundaries, like with rock operas, that helped launch him into the financial stratosphere. Number 1. Paul McCartney. From Beatlemania to billionaire. Let's talk about Paul McCartney. You know, the guy with the iconic mop top who played bass for a little band called the Beatles. Yeah, that Paul. He's not just one of the most influential musicians in history. He's also a billionaire. That's right, Sir Paul McCartney has an estimated net worth of around $1.2 billion. And while that might sound mind-blowing, when you dig into his decades-spanning career, it actually makes a lot of sense. To understand Paul's financial success, you've got to start with the Beatles. Formed in Liverpool in the late 50s, the Fab Four, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, didn't just change music, they redefined pop culture. And at the heart of it all? Lennon and McCartney, one of the greatest songwriting duos ever. Their partnership produced hit after hit. Hey Jude, Let It Be, Yesterday, and so many more. Back then, the Beatles weren't just earning money from record sales and concerts. They had merchandising deals, films, and eventually even their own company, Apple Corps. While their manager Brian Epstein handled most of the business, the sheer popularity of the band turned each member into a millionaire, a huge deal in the 60s. But that was just the beginning for Paul. After the Beatles broke up in 1970, cue millions of hearts breaking, Paul didn't just fade into the background. Nope, he launched a successful solo career and formed the band Wings with his wife Linda. While Wings didn't exactly reach Beatles-level fame, they still cranked out big hits like Band on the Run and Live and Let Die. His solo work has been steady ever since. Paul's music catalog is massive. Albums, soundtracks, collaborations, and he's continued to tour well into his 70s. And don't let his age fool you. The guy still sells out stadiums like it's 1964. But Paul's fortune isn't just from performing. He's made some seriously smart business decisions over the years. For one, he owns the rights to a lot of music, not just his own. He's built an empire with MPL Communications, his publishing company. Through MPL, Paul owns the rights to songs by artists like Buddy Holly and Carl Perkins, as well as a bunch of Broadway tunes and classical pieces. There's also the story of the Beatles' song catalog. Long story short, Michael Jackson bought the rights in the 80s. Yes, that Michael Jackson, which caused a bit of a rift between him and Paul. Eventually, the rights were merged into Sony ATV Music Publishing, and Paul later regained some of his rights through legal action and buybacks. Today, he controls much of his share of the Beatles' work again, and that catalog alone is worth hundreds of millions. Let's not forget touring, a massive source of income for McCartney. He's one of the highest-grossing live acts of all time. Even in his later years, his tours rake in hundreds of millions. Fans, young and old, flock to hear Let It Be and Maybe I'm Amazed live, and they pay a premium to do it. Merch sales, ticket sales, VIP packages, it all adds up. Sure, Paul's rich, like really rich, but what's interesting is how down-to-earth he still seems. He's done a lot of charity work, speaks up about animal rights and vegetarianism, and even dabbles in painting and poetry. And while he lives comfortably, he has homes in London, New York, and even a farm in Scotland, he doesn't flaunt his wealth the way some celebrities do. He still comes off as the guy who just loves making music. It's not just because he got lucky. He's worked hard for over 6 decades, constantly evolving, staying relevant, and making smart choices. From Beatles superstardom to solo success and savvy business moves, Paul's journey is a masterclass in building a lasting legacy and a seriously impressive bank account. At the end of the day, though, the money is just one part of his story. The real legacy? The music. Because even if he had $0 to his name, people would still be singing Hey Jude and Blackbird long after we're gone. Did you guess some of them? Truly impressive career and wealth. Subscribe to the channel for more.